In this video, we are going to see the process of booting in a computer. Booting is basically the process of starting a computer. When the CPU is first switched on, it has nothing inside the memory. So the process of booting loads the operating system into the main memory so that the computer is ready to take commands from the user. What happens in the process of booting? You can see that booting happens when you start the computer, that we already know. This happens when we turn on the power or the computer restarts. The system BIOS, that is a basic input output system, makes the peripheral devices active. Further, it also requires the boot device that loads the operating system into the main memory. This is what happens in the process of booting. Then we require the boot device to load the operating system. So what are the boot devices we can see? Booting can be done either through hardware or by giving software commands. Therefore, a boot device is a device that loads the operating system. Moreover, it contains the instructions and files which start the computer. Examples are the hard drive, floppy disk drive, and CD drive, etc. Mostly we use the hard drive to as the boot device to load the operating system. Then we can see the types of booting. First is the cold booting. That is, cold boot is also called a hard boot. That is, it is the process when we first start the computer. In other words, when the computer is started from its initial state or by pressing the power button. The instructions are read from the ROM and the operating system is loaded in the main memory. Then we can see what is warm booting. It is also called a soft boot. This refers to when we restart the computer. That is, here the computer does not start from the initial state. When the system gets stuck, sometimes it is required to restart it while it is on. So in this condition, a warm boot takes place. Restart button or Control plus Alt plus Delete keys are used for warm boot. We can describe this boot process, that is what and all we explained previously. We can describe that as in 6 steps. That is, boot process can be explained in a sequence of 6 steps. First is the startup. This involves switching the power on. It supplies electricity to the main components like BIOS and processor. Second one is the BIOS, that is power on self test. It is an initial test performed by the BIOS. Further, this test performs an initial check on the input-output devices, computer's main memory, hard drives, etc. Moreover, if any error occurs, the system produces a beep sound. Loading. Third step is the loading of OS. In this step, the operating system is loaded into the main memory. The OS starts working and executes all the initial files and instructions. Then the fourth step is the system configuration. In this step, the drivers are loaded in the main memory. The drivers are the programs that help in the functioning of the peripheral devices. The fifth step is the loading system utilities. System utilities are the basic functioning programs, for example, volume control, antivirus, etc. In this step, system utilities are loaded into the memory. Then the final step is the user authentication. If any password has been set up in the computer system, the system checks for the user authentication. Once the user enters the login ID and the password correctly, the system finally starts. This is all about booting. Subscribe to my channel if you feel contented.